All right, here we are, the uncomfortable truth, episode 3.
What's on your mind today, man?
We're gonna talk about relationships. Um, what's my niece? What's the other thing my cousin like to be called? Not Aisha, but
Uh, um, I forgot.
what?
Ish.
Nah, it's
You
not.
call it Ish.
I call her Aisha.
We call it.
We'll cut this part out later. We'll come back to it. We'll do that part later.
I
She
forgot.
can't be with us today. But since the
Here,
last
spirit.
episode, lot has gone on. We're gonna talk about relationships, our relationship between men and women, black men and black women, and how we deal with each other. Because we talked about this before, but and we're gonna continue to talk about it so we can kind of bridge this gap of, our negativity and our disdain for one another is very important to me. Um, right now, I'm going through something with my lady, or possibly even my ex lady. Once again, she's going through some things in terms of our relationship. Her mother just passed. She's having a hard time managing her emotions, with good reason. But for a moment, I just want to take a minute or two and talk about. Well, first of all, I want to apologize to, I guess, many black women out there. A lot of us, we tell our lies and say the sweet nothings and all of that to the women to get what we want out of women, which is, frankly, probably sex. Um, and it causes, it does cause a lot of problems and issues. Um, Now, while we do that, we could talk about that all day or all night. We don't have the best examples of it. And some of it, I think it may be in our DNA that some of us as men, we very well may or are supposed to have or love more than one woman or take care of more than one family. Now, some people may think, oh, he being selfish, just about sex and things, and that's not true. If you really think about it, and I learned this from a friend of mine. He's with the Moorish Science Temple, and he explained some things to me that I frankly agree with. But what he said to me was that women are going to have to be the forefront of that movement of what the family will look like as we go forward as black people, if we really want to make a change in our community. It is better, in terms of how we raise our children, how we deal with women, the respect that we should and at least try to get to what we have for each other. It's not about the sex, and I cannot stress that enough. If you look at history and really study history, there was a time when this was the case, and we very well may have been better off. Some women very well may have to attach themselves to these men or these type of men if you want more quality of life for yourself and for your children, and as a family unit. It's just what it is. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying this is my opinion and it makes sense to me.
So what brought you to that point, though?
What brought me to that point was throughout my life, as I look at the men in my family, my father, my uncles, and things like that, there were certain patterns that were the same.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, I have to ask myself: is it in our DNA, or is it learned behavior, or is it both? So I've come to the conclusion that on some levels it's both, but I think in a lot of levels it's in our DNA, or at least for some men.
I definitely think it's in our DNA. It's partial with us, and it's partial in our nature. I think we definitely feel like, in a perfect circumstance, if we could have our cake and eat it too, we would have 2 or 3 women, and we all could get along. But in modern society, as things go on, I think we are more possessive and obsessive of what we think is ours. And the more hurt you deal with, you start being more selfish about that. So while you may be younger, you might be open about dating and having 4 and 5 girls you're dealing with, or that girl might have 4 and 5 guys who got her phone number. But as you get older, those things begin to be wrong, and they are wrong to have 4 or 5 people you're talking to, and those things become more possessive, and you start dealing with more one-on-one situations. And with the one-on-one situation, it's a violation to have multiple friends or multiple partners, and that's when things start to get complicated, because you started off with your dating situation, have multiple partners, multiple friends. Now as you get older, you become more possessive, thinking that these things are wrong. But in reality, you are supposed to have multiple people in your life because they give you balance. Maybe having one thing actually limits your reality and limits your perception, because you become more sensitive to that one person being your everything, because every single thing that one person does hurts more, feels less validating, feels more disrespectful. Whereas we had that more people in your life, you may not depend solely on that one person for every single thing to repair everything that might be wrong. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, some people feel validated and being monogamous, but there's so many women out here, is it really valid that it's going to be a lot of women that's going to be by themselves if we just go off the numbers alone?
A lot of women
14 to
1. We come from so much trauma from our childhoods, and not having the best examples of what a family unit is supposed to look like. And really, some of our family units was a lie to begin with. This Christianity on some level, some religions, they lie to us to get what they want from us. To keep us in order, to keep us in this type of mindset, and that might even go to how we raise our children, and among other things. But in our childhoods, it's a lot of trauma. And as we grow up, like for myself, and I even said this to my lady, like when I was young, I was that dark-skinned, skinny, big head, black, ashy kid with nappy hair. So as I got older and I started to find my little niche in life, and I work out and I dress like this, and I move like this, it's better. And now I can I'm more attractive to the opposite sex, and I like that. I like the attention. I'm drawing them in, but because, like we said before, hurt people because of my past. Now, and on top of that, I've been living a lie. So I'm talking about me personally, and I heard this on Ayana Fix My Life, and I talked about this before. You start living a lie from your childhood, right? So, for example, this is what she said, and it applied to me so much. Me personally, being molested as a child by my own brother for years, and then you will have to sit at a kitchen table and act like everything is okay, or you have to go to school and act like everything is okay, or your mom or your dad, whatever, sometimes ask you, how is your day, or what's going on with you, and you say everything is okay. You live in a lie. Exactly. So you begin to, your life, everything you do on that level at least becomes a lie. Yeah. Your relationship with people is a lie, and you carry that into your adulthood. So as I'm dealing with women, I'm lying to them about who I am, because I don't want to be viewed this way. Yeah. I don't want to be viewed as weak.
It's like learned behavior.
It's learned behavior. Yeah. I don't want to be viewed as weak. I don't want to be viewed as gay. None of that shit. So it becomes a learned behavior. And now I'm 45 years old. 45 years old, still engaging in that bullshit. Yeah. But it's hard to break generational curses. So many of us, we deal with that and we don't talk about. I mean, real talk, every black person in this country probably need therapy. Should go to therapy on some level. And I had an OG tell me that years ago, and I was like, nah, but now that I'm older, he right.
Hell yeah.
We come from so much trauma and negativity. Like, we don't have the best, like, what we think is normal is not normal.
Yeah, 1000%, yeah.
Like my ex-wife, I remember the first time I went to a family reunion on her side of the family. It wasn't a family reunion, it was her grandparents' 50th anniversary. And to see them, how they engaged with each other. Everybody was happy. Everybody was going up there telling stories about making gingerbread houses with their grandparents. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I ain't got that.
I was like, they do this? Like,
where they do that at?
What's going on here? Like, ain't nobody gonna fight? Ain't nobody on drugs? Ain't nobody drunk? None of that. It was weird to me because normal for me was not normal.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we carry the energy into our relationships, and I continue to hurt people that I don't want to hurt, and then you hurt yourself.
Right. And I would say, Horace, agreeing with you, and through their childhood, a lot of things get unanswered. Like for me, my father died when I was 14. I was only 15 in 1 month, and I never got to ask him why did he love a mother in spite of. I never got a chance to talk to him about any relationship issues going on in my life, or I met this girl I like, or we going through this. So I don't.
Yeah.
So a lot of things I had to compose on my own.
Facts.
But also I went through a lot of simp shit, thinking that you supposed to be in a nuclear relationship, and no matter what, you don't break up.
And for too many of us, it's trial and error.
Trial and error. Because my mother and my father never broke up.
Harder.
I think no matter what, you give people second chances. You talk it out. You beef. Da 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 da. And I know other people who parents are not together, who maybe mother was single or father was single, they don't deal with a lot of bullshit that I'm probably willing to put up with because I saw a person in a nuclear family going through it. Mm-hmm. So because they willing to go with a hook or crook and up and down, I feel I might be more willing to talk about and be in the house miserable, and I'll just go to another room. That's like nothing.
Yeah.
Not,
Till death do us part type shit.
Yeah,
see a person better or for worse.
Go upstairs and not speak, or they in their own separate zone, but they still got a household function. Where my friends, I feel like, who might experience divorce or breakup, they won't tolerate the same shit. But I know there's extreme on both ends, so I'm sure is that person out there who probably feels like because they saw that same thing, they're gonna tolerate more. But just in my experiences, I feel like I might tolerate a little bit more because I saw a person might suffer at times when they wasn't always happy. Mm-hmm. And that's something I can realize from a relationship, that you're not gonna be 1,000% happy at all times. Even simple as it's something major, like my mother and my father disagreed on where to live at. My mother wanted to live in the hood near her job and near her sisters. My father wanted their freedom to get to suburbia to feel like I've arrived and achieved. Mm-hmm. She wanted the convenience of the commute to get to work. My father felt like I want to break from these niggas. Mm-hmm. And they disagreed on that. So that could be a really big thing in a relationship. Do you stay here in this situation to make this person happy, or is this person holding you back because you're really trying to move on?
1,000%.
So those are things that come up in relationships. So everything might not always be about, sexual compatibility. Something might come down to where we live at. I'm not happy here.
So here's a thought. So if we look at like you talked about the grandparents, we dealing with a whole different woman today. Like so the grandparents as we know it, those women weren't really that decorated with degrees or getting money like these women today. Mm-hmm. Like those women were pretty much dependent on the man, right?
Working.
Yeah, well, they were more dependent on the man, and even that man had the capacity to, I think, have other women, and it wasn't like frowned upon because he took care of his business.
It's probably girls out there with degrees in chemistry can't even make no jiffy cornbread. They just won't do it for you because they won't work as hard as their grandmother worked.
And the women of that time, our grandmothers were more dependent on their husbands because she didn't work. She was more dependent on him, so she probably had to put up with more. Mm-hmm. What was she gonna do? She didn't work. She didn't have no degree. She didn't have. What was she gonna do to take care of herself and her children?
But child support wasn't like that back then. But alimony wasn't like that back then.
But was that a recipe for success? That the way that structure was situated, or is what we have today? What women, performing more, like obviously way more than their four.
Well, I think
I feel like a woman can do both. Like a man can do both.
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying like it's a difference in now we're dealing with this highly like powerful woman, and now it's like a I don't know. It's like a
all them women willing to work as hard on their education as they work hard on this relationship.
The black woman is the most highly educated, the most educated demographic in this country right now. The black woman, that's statistically speaking, she's the most educated, right? Okay. So there was a time, obviously, when that wasn't true. So going back to women were more dependent on a man. Women today are not necessarily dependent on their man because they work, they go to college, they're making their own money, all those things. So they are more vocal about what it is they want. There was a time when women probably, the mindset of a woman probably wasn't that much different, but they didn't voice those opinions as much simply because she couldn't. So she started talking that craziness. Ooh, ain't no man could finna put up with that shit back then. My grandfather wanted to put. Who you talking to?
But is what women want today a contradiction to what men want?
It is a contradiction.
And is it a contradiction because
women have evolved on a lot of levels in terms of education and jobs and work status and money, so their mentality has changed. I don't, and you hear the women, and some of us our fault, going back to when I said that. Women on some levels, I don't need no man. You need a man, just like we need a woman.
1,000%.
We need each other. Let's stop saying that shit.
It's not good for men to be alone.
We need each other.
1,000%.
We need each other. I don't need no man. I got this. I'm that. I'm woo.
Pay my own bills.
Happy, woo. Yeah, I mean, if
you the person said that, they go ask another man though.
So if you're happy, then you should not be talking about. Yeah, I'm
you
happy,
shouldn't be complaining.
Yeah,
but you shouldn't be complaining. Yeah,
every time a person says they either go ask another man or they go ask their parent. So you do need somebody. But you ask the closest person in your circle. Can you help me?
Most people, if not all, want in the very least companionship.
1,000%.
So when we talk about what you bring to the table, so we talk about tangible things,
right?
Money, property, cars, money, all this. But we don't talk about, do I enjoy your company?
Yeah.
Do I enjoy conversation with? Do I spend time with this person?
But
do I laugh with this person?
But that's the perspective we look at it from. Like women look at it from a materials perspective.
Well,
we look at it from a compatibility.
Men inherently, when we come home, we want peace.
1,000%.
Women, I think one of the top things they want, and I'm not a woman, so I can't speak for them, but I think one of the top things they want is they want security.
1,000%.
So you have to be a provider and a protector, and inherently that's generally what we are as men. We provide and we protect, and we are solution oriented. So we're very rational. So when a woman comes here and says, my tire flat, I'm gonna go out there and change the tire. My job, this and that. Well, quit your job, get another job. We're solution. We're so simple, it baffles them. Here we come with answers. They like, well, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes a woman, she gets so caught up in her emotions, she cannot think
creatures.
Rationally. They're generally more emotional. Emotional creatures. Yeah.
Also, they might also want you to. They might just want that conversation, and we don't even talk about it. We just want to go to change the tire. I don't want to know about how you failed trying to change the tire that day.
Right. I want to fix this problem so we can move on from it.
Well, I got to tell you everything that happened.
Even if you don't come to me with it, when I see there's a problem, I'm gonna fix that problem.
Yeah.
Even if I see it, I'm gonna fix the problem.
See, I'm having an issue with in my relationships and my dealings with women is they want the alpha male, right? They want the valuable guy, right?
Yeah,
they want the guy that
women inherently they want a alpha male.
They want an alpha
Definitely,
male,
no question.
Like you said, they want security, which is a lot of a mix of finances, like you said, the being able to physically protect them, right? Like all this other extracurricular shit. Like they want the top of the top, and then once they get the top of the top, it's like, all right, well now I want you to relax. Like I want you to fit in this box that makes me comfortable, but that's not what attracted you to me in the beginning. But now all of a sudden, now that we're here, now it's like, all right, well now I don't want you to go out. Now I don't want you to, be social. Now I don't want you to wear that. Why are you wearing cologne? Oh, you got your earrings in. Why you got your earrings in? Where you going? Like you trying to get cute for girls at your job? Like, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm having a hang up with women wanting something, then they get it, and now it's like that what they wanted is a problem.
Well, who don't want to control something?
I don't want to control nothing.
It's still,
baby, you don't want to control something.
Control shit.
It still goes back to our childhoods. Like me and the homie sitting right here, my man Red, we talked about this. We still that 8-year-old, that it's something about that age right there, that 8-year-old. So let me say this first. One of the criteria they use to build prisons is a 3rd grade test scores. 8 years old. It's something about, you really think about that time in your life, If you go to a kindergarten class, first grade class, even a second grade class, kids are kids. They still, for the most part, have their innocence. It's around third grade you see the transition for some reason. It's something about that 8 years old, that third grade, that, you know, that third grade, that there's a transition mentally. The world takes your innocence, and when it happens, who you are, where you are in society is going to dictate a lot. Whether you're going to be alpha male or beta male.
1,000%.
Are you going to be easily influenced or not easily influenced? Because based off those third-day test scores, they build in prisons. That's one of the criteria they use. We know by this point in your life, if the foundation has not been laid properly, this percentage of people are going to do this. And we're going to have to lock them up or put them on probation or put them on parole.
Right.
Or these types of jobs, whatever the case may be. You know, so it's something to be said about that. We have to take that science and that math and flip it and make sure we're rearing our children properly. Because the rearing of the child starts in the womb.
1,000%.
What that woman takes into her body, what she hears on a daily basis while she's pregnant, goes to the development of the child. Once your child is born, same thing. Mm-hmm. So when I see, and let me just say this real quick. When I see children who are not being reared properly, it shows. Like I know a handful of men, several men who they're single, and there's no reason why they should be single because they're good men, and but they're frustrated with the women.
That's the
thing.
Like that's the thing.
So then it becomes, oh, I'm gonna just go get me a white girl. Nah, we're not doing that.
No, of course.
We're not doing that. I'm not even finna entertain that. One of my other I'm not dating no more black women from America. I got me an African, and she just said, I said, I'm not engaging in that conversation with you. I'm not doing that with you.
Right.
And this my partner. I said, I'm not doing that with
Why
you.
not?
I said,
But culturally, isn't there some differences though?
But here's the thing. This is what we really should be doing. We need to be dissecting why our women are this way. So we don't really want to talk about that. And see, that makes us just like people like Biden.
I got an idea.
Who said, let me just say this real quick, who said years ago, 20, 30, whatever amount of years ago, when he was writing the bill that locked all the niggas up, he said, I don't care about why they breaking the law. I don't care about that. Lock their ass up. We doing the same thing, we're repeating the same behavior. So you want to do a science and a study on everything else so you can fix the problem, but we don't want to do a science and study on us so we can fix our problems.
1,000%.
You know, and we got to stop doing that.
Divide and conquer is definitely at hand, and it's I believe it's bigger than people even could fathom. But what I wanted to say was, right, I feel like women. Where was I going? Because I definitely lost my train of thought. So
that's my fault.
Nah, it's all good. But y'all go ahead. Let me.
Well, I just want to follow up, but it's like a lot of our women are dealing with like systematic brainwashing, and I can back that up because I was watching a little interview earlier with Paul Mooney, and he was talking about they did the dog test 40 years after they did the original dog test back in 1967, and the black girls are still choosing the white dog. So if I'm dating that same black girl who still thinks that white dog is more beautiful than her, I'm going into a relationship as an adult with a person with mega insecurities. Yeah. Without women who are not happy with their hair, who are not happy with the makeup, who are not happy with the body image, and then I got to somehow, some way impress and make that person feel like they're beautiful each and every day. Yeah. And it's impossible when that person don't feel beautiful every day. But we can't have those conversations because now I'm being too forward, too rough. Yeah. But I need to know that this is really what's going on with you throughout your life. But now I'm trying to repair all the damage that started with that systematic brainwashing. Then it's not validated maybe from your father or from someone else in your family. And now you're 30-something, 40 years old, and I'm constantly trying to adulate that person by letting them feel like they're beautiful. But if I want something else, they feel like I'm taking away from them, but I might just want another partner. Now I'm kind of bring it back to that situation, but I'm just saying that, going back to that selfishness, everybody wants that one-on-one person for that validation. Because if I got you, then that validates so much. But it may not be about that obsessive, possessive thing, because in order for to be happy, we got to have that balance, because no one person, I feel like, can pour everything into someone so much that they're gonna be fulfilled, because there's gonna be something lacking, and you always be complaining about something. It's all right, but for you to think that I'm gonna just have your cup full of over every day, I'm gonna make you feel beautiful every day, I read your mind every day, that's just not gonna happen.
Yo, remember Cat Williams? He's like, it's called self-esteem. It's esteem of your motherfucking self.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at was, like, all right, women have this, especially beautiful women, like attractive women have this idea of the guy that, like, their type of guy, right? Not necessarily, that this type of guy is even conducive to what she wants and where she's going, but she has this idea of, this is my type. Like, right, you went to college, you from DC. Like, once again, like, I'm not sure about yourself, but I'm pretty, like you said, growing up, you was dark skin, had big head, nappy hair. A lot of times, we're not their type.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm short, I got a stomach, like, I ain't the tallest nigga in the world, like, I'm brown skin, whatever the case may be. I'm not the type, like, a lot of women's type. So it's like, a lot of times with us, it's like, we got to do a lot of self-development to even compete, where other brothers might just, like, all right, let's say.
We have to work on ourselves.
Let's say, who was the coolest guys in high school?
Your athletes.
The athletes.
Yeah. Right.
And the bad kids, right?
Yeah.
They got all the girls. Like, but the kid that's studying, that's pulling straight A's, like, come from a good family.
Yeah.
But sometimes that bad kid be a little bit more sexually way and more aggressive. Go after them girls too.
But it don't matter. Yeah. It don't matter. Women have this thing about that's what they want. Yeah. That's what's valuable. That's what's attractive. And then the cool, calm and collected guy that might not be, that might not really want to play ball. Like you say, I like poetry. Like, I like writing. I like doing other shit. Like, I like, whatever. We're not their type. And then they go out and go find and deal with these types of guys for all this time, and then when they finally figure out, well, this shit ain't working, now they want to get with a.
But is that nature or nurture? Is that genetics? And that mind, they think that person tall, slim, they can reproduce, or are they looking at this person going to be able to go to the NBA and provide this so-called lifestyle? Because in my neighborhood, I feel like the girls had affinity for guys who had money because they had more resources to their mom. They can have them out with an outfit. They can buy them a chicken box. They can throw them a couple dollars here and there. I mean, I'm being for real. So them guys gonna maybe had access to have sex earlier because they got a resource that a woman really, really need. Well, and they'll go 20 years later in the future, not saying those same guys, but people who can provide the same things, food, clothes, and shelter, are they still the ones winning because they can actually get at to somebody?
Well, women are attracted to confidence. One thing I had to realize, women are attracted to confidence. So when you talk about the athletes and the bad kids, they're confident. And that's in a woman inherently. When a woman sees confidence in you, it's a lot of times, it don't care what you look like. It don't matter what you look like. That confidence goes a very long way. Even with us as guys, like, you ever have that one woman, like, she beautiful, but she's so timid and shy.
I can't give him that. I can't give him that's confidence. Because once again, you got guys with money that's shy. You got guys that play ball that's not that very outgoing. Women are attracted to social status.
That's true too.
So it's like they go for that.
Can be true at the same time.
So
that's true.
It could be this guy.
But in high school, nobody got nothing.
Guy A.
So you either got confidence or you got.
Guy A
you don't.
has social status. Same guy, identical guy. Guy A has social status, money, influence, whatever. Same identical guy. Guy B, none of that.
Yeah.
She gonna go with guy A all the time, even if guy A is clearly not. What she wants is like they really settle for a lot of shit based on like what I feel like they could get out of the situation socially, not even like emotionally or in terms of
that. But that same woman, she gonna deal with this guy. He bring this to the table, but she gonna still deal with this knucklehead over here because he confident. Like, we know these guys. He ain't got nothing going on for herself. Like, why would you? But she's still gonna cheat on this guy with this guy. I mean, that's women.
That don't make sense because now that's a contradiction. Because if we can't cheat, how the fuck do you feel you can cheat?
You're right, but that's what they do. They'll do that to satisfy or scratch this itch over here.
But let me ask you this. So do you feel like you're supposed to be with a beautiful woman as compared to that guy who just catch that girl who think he couldn't get, who's very passionate? Man, I never thought I'd catch her. He gonna treat that girl 10 times better than the guy who know that girl ain't nothing to me.
I think for most men that's true, you know. But I think for me, I like who like me. You know, if a woman is attracted to me and I feel she attracted, and blah blah blah, I'm engaged with her. Mm-hmm. But for most men, specifically men who positions in power, that's how they do think that. Like Bill Gates cheated on his wife with a younger, more beautiful version of his wife. What's the one from Amazon? He cheated on his wife with a younger, beautiful mother of his wife.
Who's still smart, still was executive. Somebody who's still smart, still executive.
And these are people that some people on some level would think would never do that. But at the end of the day,
it'd be sexual relationship
it's about what he wanted.
We're dealing with a different woman.
We are dealing, but we're dealing with the same man. We're men.
Same thing.
We're men.
The dynamic has never changed since ancient BC.
But besides Bill Clinton, did Bill Clinton really think Monica Lewinsky could replace Hillary Clinton, or did he want somebody who's going to come out?
That was never the plan.
But who's going to come out of his office and neck him off?
That was
exactly. What did he really want?
Yeah. He wanted what he wanted in that moment. I mean, he wasn't going.
But we understand that.
He was
He wasn't going to never leave his wife simply because he's Bill Clinton. I need to be married. I need to be married to this woman. She's the mother of my child, and this is what progresses my power as.
But is it Hillary Clinton's fault that this man got his lust out there? Obviously, at home.
Hillary Clinton's fault. It ain't nobody.
You can't control that.
It is what it is.
So
Jay-Z and Beyonce. Another Jay-Z, how could you cheat on Beyonce? We are.
I still don't
men.
think he did it.
We're men, and I'm not saying it's okay.
That's
because
entertainment.
like we talked about before, the problem is in the lie.
Yeah.
The problem is in the lie. It's not necessarily that I had sex with. It's that I lied about.
Well, it shouldn't even.
I lied about who I was and how I feel in here. Jay-Z, be honest, he probably supposed to have multiple women.
But if love not supposed to delete and distract away from your lust? No. I love you so much, I don't have no more lust.
No, love ain't got nothing to do with it
at all.
We can love 2-3 women at the same time. Love ain't got nothing to do with it.
So why is there not a little discipline?
But see, that is the mistake that a lot of women make. Oh, if you love me, you wouldn't do this. No, only a woman would say that. You've never heard a man say, I cheated on you because I didn't love you.
1000%.
You've never heard a man say that.
Right.
And he never would say that.
Right.
That's something women say because they don't understand the mind and the mentality of other men.
Back to the lie.
Only men can understand. We're men. It's what it is.
1000%.
I'm not saying the only wrong in it is in the lie.
Back to that. So why is that even a dynamic? Like is that something society put in play to diminish the black man or the man to express himself and be whom a man was naturally designed to be?
Yeah, for sure. Like my man, repeat to me what you said to me about how they use religion. It was something about using religion to.
It's a lot, man. Y'all talking about a whole lot.
Yeah. And he said something to me that made a lot of sense. He used something about sex, and once we control the sex, they control it was, but it made sense.
It's like neutering a dog.
Yeah, it's like
you change the whole dynamic of the dog.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of stuff religion based. It's to control black people. So like, I was watching a documentary. So pretty much, Sapelo Islands off the coast of Georgia. That's where the Geechee and the Gullah people at.
Yeah, that's where my mother's from.
Right. So the Sangali people who came there were Muslim. So they practice Islam. So those days of Islam, you can have multiple wives. However, his name's like Brother Bilal. So Bilal's 2 kids, I believe they start the first African Baptist church. So we take elements of Islam and African principles. That's how they kind of developed the Baptist church. I said it to say that there was a point in time where people had different religious systems and beliefs when it comes to their marriage. Now, through slavery, we didn't have those certain rights to have to choose our partners, choose our wife. We could have a wife, but that partner still could be used for reproduction. So because that part is controlled with us, I think as a people, we are out here scrambling to, like we talk about PTSD, about post-traumatic slave disorder. I think we have a sexual post-traumatic slave disorder because we don't know how to connect on monogamous or having multiple relationships or accepting that grandma had that your oldest uncle may not be your blood relative because he had a different father, but they're not going to talk about it because of the shame. And there's so much go along with those dynamics, but maybe they ain't designed for us to be having one partner or not to have stepfathers or half sisters, half brothers, because so many of us do got it. Me and my brother and sister don't got the same fathers. And we don't really talk about it in my family, but I am not no shame to my mother because this has been going on for 400-something years. There's a reason why the women in church screaming and hollering like that.
Yeah. And we've normalized it as a society amongst us. And it should not be. Mm-hmm. It should we should not have we should not be normalizing certain mentalities.
And I feel like it's leading with the woman. I feel like the woman in society has set out on a path to neuter and spay the man. Like look at society today. Like everything is the Me Too movement. Like you watch what you say, pretty much. Like, you know, don't say nothing that even remotely close to disrespectful or sexual or sexually motivated, whatever the case may be. Like, but my whole thing is just like, you want this alpha male. This is what makes him an alpha male. The fact that he wants to dominate and fucking kill and perform and be valuable. And then it's like, then you don't want him that. Then you don't want him to be that. And then you complain about.
But they've been programmed for that to happen. Because
I don't like a guy that I could just run all over. Like, you know, now I want to.
So let me.
But you did it to him.
I agree, but I disagree. And let me tell you why. And it's slightly off subject, but I'm going to try to connect it. So, but it goes back to what I was saying about it's man's fault. Mm-hmm. When I say that, when it comes to women, we talking about kids right now. So we have 100% control of whether or not that woman has our child. See, I disagree with people like Kevin Samuels and others when they say, you can make me a father whether I want to be one or not. That is not true. And I'm going to tell you why I feel that way. When I'm having sex with a woman, if I'm not using a condom, I chose not to use a condom. If I come inside that woman, I chose to do that. Mm-hmm. I didn't pull out. I did none of those things. And once she gets pregnant, I gave her something and impregnated her to where now the choice is hers. Because if I hand you this cup, it's yours. Mm-hmm. If I give her my semen, it's hers. That's my fault.
1000%.
I messed up.
1000%.
So we have to stop putting all the blame, or really any of that blame. We are men. Mm-hmm. We are 100% in control whether or not I allow this woman to have my child.
All right, so
that is not the woman's fault, because now once the deed is done, I expect to have an abortion? No. Okay. You should have thought about that before.
But why men always to blame? Because I think me and you, Horace, might talk about it other time, but as I get older, I am getting disheartened to see like not every black male celebrity, but Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson. Why do they keep killing you? Why is that downfall always something dealing with multiple relationships and sex? It's like seems like that's the way they turn on our character.
I can't compare Bill Cosby with the other people.
Bill Cosby, but it's still
I can't put Bill Cosby in the same category as the other guy.
We can't, but it's still a famous African American male that issues that downfall is something dealing with sex and power. Well, he's a rapist, but he's still.
Michael Jordan. I mean, we talking about specific individuals.
I'm just saying in terms of their problem. They're perfect on all these levels. They're satisfying on all these levels. They're marketable. Their brand. They're tight. Everything we know about them is so sharp. But the one thing we do know about them that people can tear their asses down is sex and how they get down with their relationship.
But look, all right, cool. Back to that. The baby, the baby's here. You know that's in play. Mm-hmm. How much more successful could our relationship be with these women and these children if it wasn't frowned upon that, all right, cool, we got a child together, but I might got a child with this person as well. Mm-hmm. And I shouldn't have to pick between I deal with you like this and I deal with her like that. It shouldn't be no issue. It should be, you should want the father to be a father to all his children equally. And it shouldn't be frowned upon if I decide to do that.
Well, that's That's a bit of a.
I think that's frowned upon. What's frowned upon is you haven't been in a relationship, a sexual relationship with both of them.
And
What's the
that's
problem?
thing.
What's wrong with that?
That's more of a personality thing, and that goes back to the trauma So we talking. If you look at, so you got two baby mamas, right? We talking about two different baby mamas. I got a kid with her, and I got a kid with her.
Mm-hmm.
This woman may be more traumatized than this woman. She may come from a background of not having a father, or how her uncles treat her, or child molestation, all of those things. So how she deals with you is going to be negative. There's going to be a lot of disdain on how she deals with you. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but sometimes things are just is what it is. See, in a perfect world, yeah, I come over here and I get this kid, and I come over here and I get this kid, and and I'm raising my kids as a father. But the problem is really you now have two children with two different women, and you got to eat whatever comes with that. It just is what it is.
But that's cool. But then, at what point do we start to take a step back and look at how this is affecting the child? Because now there's someone else that is paying attention.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you always have to consider how you're raising your children. But some of us can't get out of our own way.
That's what I'm saying.
So this person over here, this mother, she may be in such a traumatic state that she can't get out her own way. Or this father, like my father, he may be such a selfish individual that raising his kids is not his number one priority because he's too busy chasing women. So the heavy lifting is left to be put on the woman. Now, whether or not she gets that right, it depends on the woman. Like my mother, she was a very strong-willed type of mother. So my father got 15 kids. All of them, with the exception of maybe 4, engaged in drugs, alcoholism, amongst other things. And none of us were protected properly, including myself. And I talked about that earlier. So now, with that being said, if the father is in the home, or now, first of all, it's impossible to raise 15 kids from all them different households. You can't do it. But if the father is engaged with his children the way he's supposed to, you will raise a different type of child.
1,000%.
You will raise a balanced child.
Exactly.
Because that's what you want. You don't even want your kid to just be smart or just be tough or just be. You want your child to be balanced.
Well-rounded.
So
that's what's most important.
So back to that lie. So is it a lie because it's not open, it's not accepted? It's not open and it's not accepted. Oh, my fault. That's you. So is it the lie because it's not accepted that a man could date or deal with multiple women? Is that what the problem is? Because is that the issue?
That is where it comes from. I'm gonna tell you why. Because like I talked earlier about that when I talked about that foundation maybe being Islam and how they can have multiple wives is acceptance is culture. So them women don't feel less than maybe have maybe if you've been subjugated, of course, but they don't feel less than there's nothing wrong with having multiple partners. Just like being Mormon, I know the history of that. They move in West, it's nothing but white people, and as men are falling off and dying because of the conditions, you have all these women and children left over. So the men had to take other women and the children that were left over be part of that family, because if not, it's going to be a whole bunch of women.
Exactly.
And there was no food stamps, there was no defect to take care of all these women and children who didn't have no husband. So they started taking on multiple wives. So it didn't come out of, I just want to have an actual sexual partner.
I got to touch on that, but go ahead.
But the reason why they had multiple wives is because the community needed these women to have somebody.
So it's more so about the group.
It's about the group survival more than about this one man being selfish.
But today's society says it's not about the group. It's about how I feel and what I want.
I think it is about the group because we still in Atlanta got 14-1. And it's a lot of women out here who single mothers who really are lonely, who need somebody and need somebody good instead of calling somebody in jail.
But they want somebody for them
black men
personally.
To go around. It's just not.
So should that lady be talking to some dude in jail who never come home instead of that engineer who
That's
actually
different,
probably no, it ain't different. She don't have nobody, but that man can have a resource to support a second wife or a second girlfriend.
The father of those children, whatever the case may be, what is the problem? Why is he not there? The problem probably stems from this woman saying, well, being that we have children together, I need you here full time, 100%, which is, cool. That's what's good for you and for those children. But what if I got other children? What if I'm doing this over here. Like, so I can't go do this, I can't go do that because you want me to do what the fuck you want me to do.
Society is saying you're not supposed to do that because you can't afford to do that. Because if off rip you had that baby at 16, 17, and she got to go get daycare and food stamps, you can't afford to have baby number 2, 3, and 4 because you can't afford to pay daycare for baby number 1. So why do you think you deserve having multiple partners and multiple children?
At some point, you gotta stop having children.
Right, you can't afford baby number 1.
At some point,
sir,
I agree.
You gotta stop. You gotta stop. We have to stop doing that to ourselves, and then we
1,000%.
expect society to do this and that.
Right.
Now I'm gonna switch gears a little bit because I want to touch based on something you just said when you're talking about the food stamps, and because I had this conversation in the barbershop. We were talking about how welfare said you can't have a father in the home, and the woman, you know, they say, oh, the white man, oh, he came in and took our black women and took care of her and told us not to be with our black men. First of all, when it comes to that, one thing it never said was, I'm from New York, I'm from Brooklyn. It never said for you to not be a father to your child. It never said that. It never said that you can't do homework with your child. It never said you can't read with your child. It never said you can't spend time with your child. All it said was you cannot live here. And why should you be able to live there if I'm taking care of your woman? If I had a niece or a daughter and I'm paying her bills, no, you as a man cannot be there.
But they don't do that in Middle America
But see that's what we can't do. We can't compare ourselves to Middle America or white people. What we're trying to save is black people.
1,000%.
Because any statistic in this country, if it's whatever the numbers are, it's always worse for black people. So I can't do that. It's always worse. Well, I don't care if it's poverty, obesity, COVID. The numbers are always worse for us. Mm-hmm. The numbers are always worse specifically for black people. Mm-hmm. So to compare ourselves to the Western world or the white people, I think we cannot do that. We have to save ourselves.
We got to start thinking more whole group rather than individual.
That's
I think,
right.
Personally.
Right.
That's right. So and I had to say that because I get tired of people telling me about how the white man did this and the white man did this and the white man did. Okay, yeah, the white man did this and this and this and that. But on some levels, if you take responsibility for your own actions and what you're supposed to be doing, life will be better for you as an individual.
1,000%.
And we don't do that.
But that's true. But
We don't do that. And a lot of times, I don't know what you want to call it. You can call it weakness or not being strong enough, but we have to be stronger in that area and do better for ourselves and think for ourselves and be free thinkers. And a lot of times it come to us, but we allow to society to tell us, no, that ain't what it is. You should do it like this. You should move like that.
1,000%.
Nah, that don't make sense to me.
That don't make sense for everybody.
Things have to make sense to me.
1,000%.
It gotta make sense.
Yep.
If it don't make sense, I'm like, nah, that can't.
That
be
don't
right.
work for me.
It don't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta stop doing that. You know, it's important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but going back to how we started with the relationships. You know, me, and I'm talking about me personally. I want to do better. I want to be better. Stop the lying. Stop the infidelity and all those things. And the infidelity is in the lie. It is in the lies that we tell. Like I spoke about before, my father, you got 15 kids by these women. My mother gave my father his 3rd child and his 15th child. Me. This is my mother. She wasn't going anywhere. My father, to be honest with you, had he been more honest, he could have built a dynasty.
That's what I'm saying. So
He could have built a dynasty.
Is that the issue?
But even
It's
honestly,
all the issue.
But if he
because
so-
we keep lying to other people and we lie to ourselves.
But Horace,
And our focus
But
is
why do
not
we
with-
lie?
But even if he was honest, he would
Because
still
we
be
learn to
dealing
lie
with
when
his
we're young.
income level.
We learn to lie damn near
To
from the womb.
appease someone else.
To appease
even
other
if
people,
even if
to
it's
appease
not
society, all of those
even
things.
that's not what's good for me.
That's right.
I'm a lie because I know this is what you want to hear.
Yeah.
But what if that wasn't the fact? What if that wasn't the case? And
I don't say it's a
But
lie.
it's hard to
a
do
social
because
and
we're
environmental
all
thing.
lying about
We've
something.
been
on-
programmed.
Well, I should say most of us.
we've been programmed to think.
If your father was a man of means, would have been different.
If he was what?
A man of having money. Say he was a chic billionaire with 15 kids.
Lil Wayne got
and all
5
y'all
kids.
lived-
Ain't
All y'all
nobody
lived-
complaining
and all
about
y'all
him.
lived in mansions. Would you feel differently that he provided in spite of me not having? Or do you feel that way because he could not sustain having 15 kids?
Lil Wayne got 5 kids.
First of all, he would have still lied because he learned to lie himself as a child, and I understand this now. And even when it comes to the having the money and all this and that, it's not gonna be a
That's what
factor.
I'm trying to say. Even
It's
the
not
chic
gonna
with
be
all that,
my father
is
could-
it more functional with having the money? It's still going to be dysfunctional with 15 kids and 5 partners.
And he was also uneducated. Education is very important.
Right.
If you look at anything in this world, in our society, everything pretty much always go back to education. An educated society is a more successful society. It's less violent. We're more likely to settle our differences through conversation versus violence. Education is very important.
1,000%.
But for our children, we tell our kids, well, I ain't gonna say but we teach our kids that education is not important.
1,000%.
And it's a problem. Education is important. And when you don't have it, you don't have it.
That's
It's
why
gone. My father could barely read. And because of that, I had a brother and a sister that could not read. Imagine being in this world in 22 and can't read. You're a baby in this world.
Yeah. No, I got students that can't read.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Six and 7.
And then those kids are gonna have kids.
1,000%.
And even if they can't read, they probably not gonna read that well. That's a problem.
1,000%.
How you gonna function in society properly in 2022 with computers and all this stuff, and you can't read, or you don't have reading comprehension skills?
How about they know that because that person who can't read, they don't develop their ability, their emotional intelligence, their EI. We measure that. We measure emotional intelligence. We measure all the other intellectual things. So because you got, like they say, these kids who've been in the pandemic for the last 3 years, they are not reading the level. Their maturity levels are going to be set back these 2-3 years. So when they get to dealing with relationships and dealing with things, they will not be able to. They will deal with things the same way a person who is illiterate deals with a lot of things with frustration because of their 3 years of not having the correct developmental pacing that they're supposed to have. It's a big factor.
Emotional intelligence is very important.
And it will come out in all their relationships and who they're dealing with and how they love and what they perceive what love is. And these kids probably really gonna stay in the house now.
I bring my trauma from my childhood and my past relationship to every relationship I've ever had, and that's one of the things where it's hard for me to get out my own way, and that's just me being honest. with myself.
But do you feel like you could have more successful relationships if the stigma wasn't, oh, what you're doing is cheating and it hurts me?
Well, once again, the cheating is in the lie. So
you wouldn't have to lie if the stigma wasn't there, right?
True.
So if the stigma wasn't there and it was more understanding in that space, would do you feel like you guys can have more of a fruitful relationship because it's like now that's not something that we got to deal with?
Well, I think that
all the time.
that is dependent on the woman. You know, the woman to the homies. Quote, the woman is gonna have to be the leader of that movement because she is the one that carries the emotions and the feelings of that. So if she don't come on board, it's probably not gonna happen.
Cause that's where all my problems come from, cheating. Like every relationship is always me and other women, and it's like I'm like you said, like I don't cheat because I don't love you. I cheat because that's just some shit I want to do.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know why I do it.
Yeah,
you know, like in Baby Boy, he's like sometimes I just do it. I don't know why I do it. I just did it.
But
just like Bob Marley, I was judging him. I was like, man, Bob Marley got a lot of kids and with white women, boom, 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 boom. And then I saw a documentary where Rita Marley was talking about a lot of those nights. Rita Marley was meeting these women. And I guess what they call vetting them before they even went up to the room to even be with Bob Marley.
1,000%.
So if you got a woman that invested in your safety and the relationship where you so comfortable in your relationship where you actually can meet the women who trying to come meet your husband, that's deep on a whole level. She loved that man that much
because she understands it's not about her. It's about the group. Like if this is the breadwinner, and once again, like you said, as long as you ain't bringing home kids after kids after kids, Like, cool.
But what if you are though? Isn't that acceptable too?
Then you got a problem.
If you that, but I'm saying,
and it's not a problem
if you have the means
if you could manage that and make it make sense.
I don't think the Marley family is suffering. I don't know if DMX family is really suffering.
Oh, they definitely suffering. Because now the breadwinner, the family unit, or the foundation is gone. So when we got like 10 kids,
10, 12 kids,
to about at least 10 women. That's a problem. He's gone.
You got women all over.
You need for a child to be raised properly. In my opinion, you need a proper father and a proper mother. Mm-hmm. You need that. Now a father or a mother can probably get it done in some unique situations, but there's something going to be missing. Mm-hmm. Like my father, he wasn't the best father. Then he died when I was like 13. Then it was up to my mother, and frankly, I was wilding, but some things I think some of us are born with. Some of us got it, some of us don't. But and I figured it out, and I didn't make too many major mistakes that I couldn't come back from. Like I know a young lady right now, she got her son, and he acting up at school and blah, 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 and her family tells her, you don't spend enough time with him. And she spent a lot of time with her son. And I told her, I said, that's not the problem. I said, the problem is he needs a positive male role model in his life.
And why does he have a positive male role model in his life?
Because she chose to have a child with someone who was not a positive male role model, and on top of that, he's in another state. Okay. See, being a father or a mother is a 365-year job. Yo, even when you're not a child, you're on call all of the time. If my phone rang right now as my son, I'm going to answer it. And he's 19.
I read in a book called A Conversation with God, and it spoke about the young people having the children and the elders raising the children. Like that is a dynamic that probably was, probably predated, obviously our couple generations. But what you guys think of that? Does that make sense? Like, if the youth are, running around getting the money and bringing the money home, and the elders are raising the children, being that they have a lot more experience than the youth, could that make for a more productive and fruitful group of children?
Yeah, on some levels, it's just the natural evolution of us as human beings. Some things, it just goes the way that it goes. I know many people. I was raised by my grandmother. I was raised by my grandmother. I was raised by my grandparents. It's just what it is. And per the person, it always makes sense. Like most of my so I have nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews. My nieces and nephews, a lot of my age, because I'm the youngest of the 15. And many of them were raised by their grandparents, their grandmother, things like that, because my brothers and sisters or brothers and sisters were on drugs.
Yep, same thing on my aunts and uncles.
Exactly. So it's just a natural evolution of something that happened that probably should not have happened. That's when we get into how systemically we've been discriminated against, pumping drugs into our community, lack of education, things like that.
But where we get the education from? Our elders.
At the end of the day, it's still our responsibility to educate our children.
No, 1,000%. Yeah. But then you have the idea of kids raising kids.
Yeah, hopefully your child's smart. Yeah, I mean, kids raising kids. I mean, it's been going on for a long time, but
but saying that's one of the things it's been going on since slavery. Like, we come up with these buzzwords, black on black crime, kids raising kids, but a lot of these things been going on since we brought here in America, and we just we figure out ways to hurt our own feelings about, or feel that shame about things, and we feel like it's not natural to be sexual at 14 and 15 years old. Meanwhile, that same person you come from had that baby at 15, or had that first baby at 16. So we got a lot of hang-ups of judging other people about that sexual thing, especially with that multiple partners thing. But we was talking about today, because it's going down. It's a reality. People have multiple partners. They have multiple baby fathers, baby mothers. It's just a reality of the world.
And like you said, when we came over here, we adopted the culture and the traditions of people who were not even like us,
forced on by religion.
Who was not even like us, and now here it is. This is the lens we looking at.
But some things were just forced on us,
and that shit don't work for us.
I was talking about this earlier. When you talk about, when we look at black women and black men during slavery, Black women are basically going through everything we're going through, and on top of that, she's being raped by white men, as well as she's forced to procreate with men to produce other slaves. You know, so with that understanding, it goes that trauma is real. And then we know, you know, as we go, you know, for 400 years that happened. Then another 100 years of domestic terrorism. It becomes normal. Well, my father wasn't around, and I had kids. My mother had kids when she was young. But do you understand why your mother had kids when she was young? I got an aunt had 3 kids by the time she was 21. Well, so we make it as if it's okay, but it's not okay. And then it goes to the extreme.
So what do we do about that? The children is here.
Well, let me. You can't have it both ways. You can't say.
Let me just say this first. You know, it goes to the extreme. So then you have women like my mother who raised her children to be more independent. Don't be dependent on no man. Get your education. Do this and that. So then we get this strong black woman. But that you're not necessarily good for a relationship. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You know, because of this is what evolved out of that. And now it's just a new problem because we don't come from the most positive situations. Now, what's the solution? To me, personally, we talked about this, I think, in the first episode. More women are going to have to redefine or at least accept what a family is supposed to look like or what it should look like.
And what's important.
And what's most important. Because some of them are going to have to, at least, or maybe all of them, are going to have to attach themselves more to this type of man. Every man is not able.
1,000%.
Like I said before,
Oh,
I know men, they're good men, great men, smart men. Like, I got a partner right now. Him and his lady broke up. This is what a good dude is. He got an ex-wife. He got 2 boys, raised his sons very well. They're educated, smart. One is athletic, you know, smart, all of those things, right? He has a new woman. That situation didn't work out. I'm not going to go into that, but it didn't work out. He has a new woman. When he met her, she had 2 kids. She comes from some level of trauma. She's not the best for a relationship. She's childish. She's a little younger than blah, blah, blah. When they broke up, he said, look, me and you are not working out. That is what it is, but I'm not walking away from these boys. I'm the only father that at least the youngest one knows, and I'm closest to the oldest one. You know what she said to him? If we not together, you can't see my boys. You can't be in their life.
1,000%.
Somebody happened to you as well.
So once again,
that's ridiculous.
Exactly. So
That's ridiculous.
Once again,
but women. We're all messed up, but they so messed up in their head. You gonna cut off your nose despite your face. How selfish it is for your children.
Because it's about them.
This man gonna teach them skills. Because he gonna give them love.
It's more about them and what the fuck they want.
But why are they that way? Because she comes from trauma herself.
That's what she sees. How can you love them kids but not love me?
The women's liberation movement.
That's selfishly. That's what she sees.
And she comes from trauma for herself. That's why she's not good for a relationship.
Right.
It's not a good or bad thing. It just is what it is. She comes from trauma herself. She cannot get out her own way. And he tried to work with her. But it gets to the point where I'm tired.
The Bible says my people is destroyed by a lack of knowledge, from a lack of knowledge. It's really the perspective. It's her perspective on how she thinks this shit supposed to roll when that's just what you think. And where you got that from, that's probably how they thought. But that's not, like you said, what's good for you ain't necessarily good for me. And it's not good for the whole. So now here we are producing a dysfunctional situation because I'm not happy. Because I have a problem with how you want to operate in your life.
Her perspective comes from how she's raised. We're all products of how we are raised and what we've been through. Each and every one of us. We are products of how we're raised and what we've been through. So your mentality, it's just what it is. I've been through these things. These have been my experiences, and I respond to the world based off how the world has treated me. That's how I respond to the world. Sometimes I don't even know why I respond to things the way that I do. But I know for a fact it comes from my childhood.
It comes from somewhere.
And it comes from my own experiences. Yeah. And I'm building my wisdom based off of that. Because me, you, and you, we can look at the same thing and form 3 difference of opinions.
1,000%.
But that's based off how we have viewed the world to this point in our lives. That's just all. It's all it is. It's just all it is.
I don't know. I can agree with that, but definitely have to, like, once again, when you like you said, you from Brooklyn, like, you know people that never left Brooklyn,
Yeah.
right? And look how limited that person probably is mentally.
Yeah.
Like, but when you left and seen some different shit, now your perspective, like, everything just starts to develop and, like, open up.
That's exactly my point.
So once again, like, yeah, we are afflicted, you know, and raised to think certain things, but I think it's up to us to, like, to keep learning, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, to keep trying to figure stuff out, because I don't know, like,
and that still comes down to some things you born with. Like, you got have 2 kids, right? These 2 kids, they both grew up in crack houses. This one over here, he might end up on crack, drugs, all of that. This one over here, when I get older, I ain't doing that.
Yes.
I'm gonna be different. It's in your DNA. Some of us, it's just in you. It can't be taught. It's in you. It's in you, or it's not. And I've seen it time and time again.
And off of what you piggyback what you're saying, that some people are more nurturing. Some people are just more emotionally available. Some people are more hardworking and diligent.
and that comes from somewhere.
That comes from some people know how to keep a house clean from top to bottom. They gonna keep this space organized, clean, so you can have a clear mind.
Yep.
And then some people might be that person that when you come home, that meal you never had is gonna be there, and your bath gonna be there, your socks gonna be ready in the morning because nobody ever gave you that. So some people bring different things to the table. So nobody can be encompassing of everything. But when something is missing, I don't care what that person can do. They can never fulfill their whole. You're gonna be looking for that out in this world because they just don't got that thing they can't fulfill that thing that you missing within. It don't got nothing to do with how giving they are, or how loving they are, or how homemaking they are. They just might not fulfill that thing you are missing right now at this point in your life.
And is that a problem?
It's going to be a problem for them because you're still searching and seeking to fulfill that hole. You want to fill up the holes and your leaks in your gap. You don't want to be out here feeling vulnerable and insecure. You want or not having gratitude for something. So I'm sure you out here dating and meeting other women or other scenarios so that you can feel comfortable and have that love that you feel like you're supposed to have. But sometimes I've been thinking some days, is there such thing as being 100% fulfilled? Is there a person out here who can make you 100% happy? Sexually, emotionally, mentally, financially. Does your soulmate love your life really exist?
I mean, I'm not gonna say a soulmate don't exist, but I do believe that you should do what makes you happy, and everybody should be free to do that. Like, and not even saying it's only men could do this. If women want to.
But how can you do that once you caught up? If I live here, I'm invested over here, I'm paying mortgages, I can't just do what I want to do.
But why not?
Because there's going to be consequences for everything you do in this world.
Like I said, I just think how I'm looking at things these days is like, what's good for the group? Like, what's good for the whole?
When you say the group, do you mean us as a people?
Yeah, like what's once again, because we don't even have communities no more in a general.
And I think that's
because we running each other away based on some trying to fit into what these people do.
Some of us are concerned with what happens to us as a people. Some of us are only concerned with what happens to us as individuals. And I think as some people, when they get to a certain place in their life, that becomes more true, that they're only concerned with themselves as an individual. Because it's very difficult to fight for your people when you're not proud of your people. Because people, they get to a point where, well, I did this and I did that. Why can't you do it? And I ain't gonna lie, I used to think that way. But I understand now that some people come from so much trauma, they just can't do it.
What about unconditional love?
Even with everything I've been through, some people couldn't even handle what I've been through. But I couldn't handle what this person been through. And I can understand why they in the position. Some people, I heard you hear their story, you be like, damn.
Shit, I grew up in NA.
I'd be in the same spot.
Yeah, I grew up in NA.
So we're very judgmental of other human beings. But if you really knew their story and you have any compassion in your heart, you could really say to yourself, damn, I understand why that went the way that it went.
And I'm about to go back to what we brought up earlier. Because I'm sorry, but when you know that person's story, isn't that supposed to govern your lust? I know that she hurts. I know that she been through this. I know that she been traumatized. I know that she been dragged. I know she been invalidated. I know daddy ain't been there. Isn't that supposed to govern how I'm dealing with this person so I don't hurt her feelings and hurt her because she's gonna be more sensitive than the next woman to maybe me going out here and doing what I want to do?
It's not all on you to figure that out. Like, she's supposed to be pursuing, trying to figure that out too for herself.
We have to work on ourselves.
Yeah,
but she can put it out there though. If a person lay, I got all this goddamn baggage, Reg, and here it go. And I find it out there, I got to ultimately make up a decision. Can I deal with you and all that baggage?
That's what Erykah Badu was talking about.
But if I deal with you and all that baggage, you got to deal with me and some of my baggage.
Exactly.
Which means that I may not be the most forthright and tell you everything I got going on 24/7 a day.
Erykah Badu, she's interested, a lot of subject, but she got 3 kids by 3 different men. And in none of the other world, and any other woman in this society, she got 3 by 3
She'll be called a hoe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very, it's very, she's very unique. No one ever talks about Erykah Badu, and I'm not saying that she should be.
She bad as a motherfucker.
But when you really, it's
I'll definitely be a stepfather.
she's a person of status. Exactly.
She can afford it going back to that money.
She's a person of status. She's a celebrity. You can get away
That's what I said,
with
Lil
more
Wayne.
when you, to my man point,
Ain't nothing wrong with her.
is that. Exactly.
Yeah.
And she don't really go out here and she don't really
And she was
tear
never
down,
married
she
to
don't
any
tear
of these
down
men or any of those
her
things.
children's father either. I'm sure behind
For
scenes
what?
I'm sure behind the scenes they got conversation, but in public eye, you never heard ever go to a
Because
magazine
that's not good for the
tear-
group.
and tear them down.
That's
It's
not good for the
not
kids.
good for
Why
the
why
group.
would you do that? So I think, it definitely got to be some reprogramming, because I say, even personally, like,
Oh, we definitely have
my
start-
biggest hang up
we
with
definitely
women
have to
is
start reprogramming our mentality.
women being so fucking selfish.
And we gotta. It ain't just women. Men. We're extremely selfish.
We're selfish too because we
But-
won't go for that.
No, but do we reserve the right to be selfish? Because once again, like, this is like, I don't have options, and I don't have value attached to myself because I just came outside and people say, "Oh, nah, he's the guy." Like, I had to figure all this shit out. So yeah, I deserve to be able to be picky in the function how I want to function.
If I got multiple women, multiple sex partners, I feel validated. I feel like a man. I feel masculinity. If my woman, who I think is my woman, is having sex with 3 or 4 other men, I feel less than a man. No way I feel masculine, and I don't feel no kind of way confident. So for some reason, nature will not allow me to allow no woman that's supposed to be mine to have all those partners. I ain't trying to. You call it being a pimp, you call it whatever you want to be, but within our mind, we going back to the possessive thing. We not going to deal with nobody being in our territory.
But then again,
It's in our DNA.
But then again, that's like you said, being possessive, like saying that this is my woman, this is my man. Like,
A lot to do with culture too.
Mm-hmm.
You got
Yeah.
different cultures. Well, you got matriarchal cultures where men don't rule the society. Where he got to go back home to his mother, and the women get to choose different males.
What culture is that?
Different culture in Asia. You got a culture where matriarchal society.
Yeah, matriarchal societies.
Where she can have as many men sex partners as she wants. So I think again, society untrained our mind to think
got us
the man way is just the right way.
But
there's only one way to do
But
it.
we come across women who do that, though, and sometimes
One way.
But
right,
exactly.
It's never one way because you're gonna come across a woman who they say gonna let you know him and him ain't going nowhere. What you gonna do? And you gonna have to make a choice. Do you want?
I can respect
do you
that.
want to be part of this?
I can respect that though.
Right.
One with the guy.
Yeah,
You
Yo-
have to respect it. Like
Hey yo, I can
you
respect
gotta
that.
respect it.
like that.
I can respect that because at the end of the day, it's like, I don't want to deal with just you anyway. So shit, cool. That's cool with me. Like, I don't mind.
When the baby come, who pappy? We go through the whole more purpose thing. Now we got to figure out between 4 or 5 dudes who is the one that's the father, the sire.
I ain't having no kid. I might not have no kid with
You
her, though,
say
but
that.
I might enjoy her
I
company.
got a friend who will tell me a crazy story, and I can't even share this. So I want to share it. But long story I ain't go into it. Is that when that woman is having multiple unprotected partners, and that baby comes, somebody gonna have to be the pappy. And that's what comes from their physicality of how they receive.
But I don't even think that it has to be a physical relationship. It could be, this is just a girl that I like spending time with. And like you got homegirls, I got homegirls.
Yeah, but y'all said
they
that
told me about they boyfriends.
Y'all said that wasn't cheating though. Y'all said going out to lunch wasn't cheating.
I don't really have homegirls. I just go out to lunch with.
Exactly.
Nah, I mean,
it's leading to something.
I don't have that.
Right. It's leading to me. It's leading to something. But my own personal situation. I know we about to wrap it up. I went to private school. I went to all boys school. So anything dealing with a woman, I'm very competitive about. I can't just have a girl as my, how to phrase it. I don't have girls as homegirls.
Oh, I do.
Every girl that's been my homegirl, I probably didn't been with or going to be with. My friendship zones are leading to this. Yeah. Our conversations about this.
You got ulterior motives?
It ain't ulterior motives. It ain't the motive. It ain't ulterior. It's the motive.
When a man say, this my female friend, or a woman say this, men and women, I'm a firm believer, truly at the foundation,
impossible.
Men and women cannot truly just be friends, because if a woman opens that door, the man is probably gonna walk through it. I mean, it's just what. I mean, unless she's just that unattractive, or he's gay or something.
There's no
like
way
that.
if she's attractive.
This just my friend. If she opens that door, most of them they're friends because she said you're my friend, and it'll never go anywhere other than that.
I can see that.
But if she opens that door, he gonna walk through it. Period.
You ever heard of a man putting a woman in friendship zone that didn't work? You put a woman in friendship zone, she gonna be definitely trying to crack and give you something.
I've definitely turned down sex before. Hell yeah, because like I understand. Like I got a co-teacher.
Was she attractive?
Yeah, I got a co-teacher right now. Beautiful, 23, like real pretty girl, but she 730. Like so, like I mean, like we flirt and kick it, but like it ain't.
You don't have to go there because she's 730.
I'm not doing that because I already understand what's gonna come with that. So
you understand if I do this because we work together, there's consequences. It's probably gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
That's different from her being out this world and ain't no issues.
That's another unique situation, and I had to
co-work
learn
is different.
I had to learn that a hard way. Like I dealt with somebody I was working with, and it became a problem. So I wouldn't do that now. If I work with somebody, I'm not doing that.
But which like you can just saying like, all right,
now what if you didn't work well and you met a random?
I mean, if I would have learned what I know now, of course, I'm still not doing, because once again, I'm not about to just deal with you, and I don't know if you can handle that, and what I know you're capable of, I don't want to deal with that.
She a little crazy or something?
She's 730.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she my homegirl.
Right, you engaging in the craziness.
No. I'm not sleeping with her. Is what I'm saying.
No. But you still giving her conversation.
She might catch you on an off day.
Nah. Because I mean, I don't. I feel like I got enough discipline with myself. I mean, if we probably was in the same room, maybe, and it was a go down. But I'm not actively looking at her and pursuing her in that space.
In the words of a famous poet from Memphis, Tennessee, you could turn on ratchet pussy, Juicy J can't. That's a real thing. Every he's an eloquent poet.
So look,
he says that you could turn down ratchet pussy.
So you knocking down everything that come you knocking down everything that come in your lap.
Feel me?
Y'all knocking down everything that come your way.
No.
Exactly.
Listen, but if she's attractive, yeah, exactly.
If I'm gonna flirt with that,
there's a very good chance that this is gonna happen. Yeah.
If I come over your house,
it's kind of like
I drink your wine.
A little different, but when
I take my shoes off.
Me and my ex-wife,
watch TV.
When me and my ex-wife first got together, I never cheated on her. I wanted something.
Why not?
I wanted something different. I wanted to be different. I was younger. I didn't want to repeat the things that my father repeated.
Not that it's a problem, but I'm just asking.
No. But I'm telling you, I wanted to be different. I wanted to, I wanted my family, but she was hanging out and coming in late, and I'm not one that's gonna be calling you and seeing where you at. So I said, well, I guess I better go find me something to do to distract me from, keeping my mind on this. But what happened was, now I'm putting myself in places and positions that I shouldn't.
1000%.
And now I'm flirting and things are being said and I'm saying things, and then shit gonna happen.
Y'all not doing what's good for the group.
Exactly. And then for me, my person is very 0 on 100. Exactly. There, with anything in my life, there's really no gray area. Either I'm mad or I'm not. Either I'm reckless or I'm not. I don't. for some reason, I don't know what type of but there's really no gray area. I'm either this or I'm this. And any person that knows me gonna say, yeah, that's pretty much, you know, and it's bad, you know. But yeah, you know, putting yourself in the positions is not a good thing. And I remember telling my ex-wife later on after we were divorced, you know, knowing what I know now, I probably should have just walked away from the relationship because it caused too much pain.
At what point did you know that like that's what it was? Like
what, that I should have walked away?
Like that you realized that the behavior that wasn't conducive to a successful relationship. Like, was it before marriage or after marriage?
No, it wasn't until years later because I didn't have enough wisdom in that category. Neither one of us came from functioning homes of marriage and two people together. So I had to get wisdom on it. I had to have been married and go through trial and error of, you know, those things to realize, damn, like we've been putting ourselves through all this hurt and pain, and we should not have.
So you married her in good faith, like on some like I believe we're gonna
definitely, and I think that's true for most people.
Yeah.
I think that's true, especially black folks. I mean, how many of us really come from functioning homes?
Right.
We go into something thinking, well, that's not that bad. It'd be all right.
Yeah, and you think you can fix something?
Because nobody gets married to get a divorce.
Yeah.
Nobody gets married to get a divorce. I mean, unless it's just in the beginning, like, oh, they trying to get their visa and, you know. But for the most part, nobody gets married to get a divorce. So, you know. And if you want somebody long enough, you love that person.
Hell yeah.
You know, even if you didn't go into it loving that person, you know, you love that person.
I ask a question for y'all, I guess, before we wrap up. Do y'all think it's harder to date a woman who is fatherless or been through divorce compared to a woman who had their father in their life their whole entire time? You think it's a big difference in dating those women?
I think it's... Oh, go ahead.
Nah, you go.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it's harder to date a woman who didn't have a positive relationship with her mother and her father.
Father.
So specifically with her father, how if he dealt with her mother in this way, this positive way, this nurturing way, and she witnessed how the mother supported and nurtured the father, and she witnessed how the father protected and nurtured the mother. I think it's easy to deal with that woman than a woman who did not have that.
What about you?
I feel like a woman that didn't have a father or a male present, there's like a certain hardness, like, you know, like a certain like security wall, like that's there, that you have to like barriers that you have to overcome, you know, to properly experience that person like fully, like, and you know, or women that come from two-parent households, like I notice, like, you know, my friends that have daughters, like I like their daughters are just so like just like fun and like, you know, just like it's like a sweetness and like a I don't know, like it's like a something
it's an energy.
Yeah, it's an energy like that.
I definitely feel like the women who had their father in life seem to be freer.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that woman who didn't have their father seemed to be a little bit more vulnerable, or more hurt, more. And I can say both of them definitely have issues, but I definitely feel like that woman who had their father seems to be a freer spiritly.
Yeah, you get a whole different woman, like, because at that point you don't have to like unpack a lot of shit. Like we could just move into whatever it is that we trying to do.
Instead of that person trying to figure it out.
Like, and I always say, like, because some women have their father in their life, but he's not necessarily a positive person that uplifted her. Like, and that's what my lady has been through and was going through. Like, so coming from the father that she had, he's very male chauvinistic, raised her different from her brother, and then she dated men that, you know, traumatized her as well, and been through this, cheated on her, treated her as she was less than, and then here I come, someone who she thought she had this in a lot of ways she did. Because if you take away the cheating and the lies so I can cheat, I think that most women agree, damn, he a good man.
A great guy.
He a great guy. But because of my own childhood, my own trauma, and my own, you know, baggage and garbage and all of that, I brought this into relationship. So now she's hurt from that, what I did to her. And I'm sorry. I apologize that she's going through that pain because of what
You think
I brought into
you
the
think that shit is like familiar to her based on?
Well, I don't. I think she wasn't.
hurt from
She
my
didn't
dad?
expect it from me because of how I presented myself to her. Because I do all of the little things in terms of the tangibles. That I'm gonna pay for this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put the gas in your car. I'm gonna pay your car note. I'm gonna do all of those things. I'm gonna do that. But her thing is, I need the love. I need the trust. I need the this and I need that. Those things matter to me. Like, oh shit, I do the laundry. I do the cleaning. I do those things. But now some women, they be like, shit, if you doing that, I'm cool.
Yeah.
But for her, I need this from you. And I'm incapable, or at least on some levels incapable, of providing her with that. Even though I try, I fail. But I think I make up for it on this, but I don't. And so, it goes back to love languages. That love language book is probably one of the best books you can probably read. I show love by providing and protecting. If I'm doing those things, I love that one. I provide, I protect. That's me as a man.
But what if that love language is something you hate?
Exactly. But her love language is spending time, affection, emotional, things like that. I don't have that.
That's what I'm trying to say. What if, ask the server, what if it's like, damn, you want me to be emotionally available, but I'm not ready to be, or I'm not incapable of being emotionally available. Then she's like, ask the service, well, I don't like feeling like I'm supposed to act like you the princess and all this shit is perfect and I'm supposed to just keep bringing you shit and doing shit for you and you not doing nothing.
How a person receives love is important. How your significant other views love for them.
How you want to love is.
See, how I show love is one thing.
Yeah.
How they receive is something totally different.
And how they want to be loved.
It's totally different. You can keep doing this, and that's just what it is. It's not a good or a bad thing.
We could probably have a whole episode on those 5 love languages.
It's just one of those things.
I guess you might have to edit this one. On the edit, how much time we got?
I think we'll be an hour and 26 minutes.
How much more?
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, I mean,
Talk about 4 or 5 more minutes?
let's. I mean,
really chop it up.
like let's. I know in the beginning you had a thought that was pressing, based on what you experiencing now in your relationship. I had a thought that was pressing, in my personal situation right now, and I'm pretty sure you have something. So let's just end it with that, like where we at, and how that's affecting us, and how we plan on moving forward with it.
I don't know. For me, on a lot of levels, I apologize to black women, man, on behalf of many black men, not all, because I know a lot of good black men, but we are supposed to be the leaders of our community, and we have not been. For whatever the reason, we can argue that all day. We are supposed to be the leaders of our community. Our women look to us to lead, and we have to do a better job of it. I have to do a better job of it. I do. On some levels, I do a good job. But on some levels, I don't. And the main way that I don't is the lies. When I lie to my woman, it hurts them. And when you hurt them, hurt people. Like, I know a female, she told me, she said, look, when I was younger, I met the father of my son. We had a kid together, and I was at home cooking, cleaning, doing all these things, and I found out he was cheating and had women in my car and this and that, and it hurt her. You know what she did? She went out there and started drinking heavy to numb the pain, and started dating this guy and this guy, having sex with this guy and this guy to numb the pain. For every action, there's a reaction. Now we can call them names and hoes and bees and all this, and stuff like that there. But we have to understand what it is we do to our women as fathers, brothers, sons, and uncles to make them this way. Even like, to be honest with you, most of the women I meet either been molested as a child, raped, or something along them levels. And we act like it never happened. We don't talk about it. we act like they should just get over it, and it's not right. We have to be better leaders of our women. Our women follow our lead. That's why our women, see how our women talk today? You know, women, they talking like us. Girl said girl said to me, she was young. She was like 28. She's like, that's some of my old work.
Yeah,
Talking
that's
about
the
guy
bro.
she had sex with. And I was like, what? I was like, what you just say?
Yeah.
You know, calling man bruh. Hey, bruh. I said, man, don't call me bruh. You my woman. Don't call me bruh. I don't like that. Don't call me bruh. I'm not your bruh. You know, we have to be better leaders in our community. We have to educate ourselves, read what we take into our bodies. Women follow our lead.
Right.
One of my other good partners. Now he a Christian, you know, that's his thing. Boom. But whatever he had to do to make himself a better person, it worked. He stopped cursing, drinking, all that. But he didn't push it on his wife. One day his wife just realized it. She was like, I noticed you don't really drink no more. You don't curse no more. He was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to be better. And in turn, she was more mindful not to do it herself. Our women will follow our lead if we give them something to follow. They will. They will.
And I'm definitely
Minister Luz Farrakhan always say a nation can rise no higher than this woman. So I believe, like, you know, not all men are fit to lead. Some women might have to lead and do a better job at that than some men.
That's right.
So
That's right.
like I said, a nation can rise no higher than this woman. So if we look at the state of our nation, look at our women.
And if you want more, you're going to have to provide more. You're going to have to do more. And I realized that too, my situation. I ain't going to call it a little, but for my relationship, and I even said that to my lady. I said, I guess I'm going to have to lead more. And she didn't even say nothing because she know I feel like all the things that I feel is wrong, a lot of those things is going to take me leading us and cultivating a better situation. Or how we doing his houses, how we doing our finances. I might even have to support her, send her some job situations because if I leave it up to her, she might be lost in the wilderness, for lack of a better word. So I gotta really lead this community or this nation of me and her in order for us to be better. And that's gonna take a lot of me stepping up and being mature about what I really gotta set my role and responsibilities and accountability, because there ain't no such phrase as a woman of her word or woman this or woman that. Something really is on the man as part of the foundation. And she gonna have a role to play, but we really have to step it up on a certain type of level to create that happiness we really, really want, or we're gonna continue to come home and be complaining about the same old things and looking at, man, you don't do this, you don't do that. Meanwhile, a lot of these things could really be fixed. The things I want to have happen in the summertime, I need to be doing now so that I can have my lady on point for the summertime. Whether it's something dealing with fitness, dealing with this house, it's gonna manifest itself in a real reality if I start doing those things now and planting that seed for us to grow. But if I really in the back of my mind hemming and hawing, hesitating, and I really don't want to be here, it's gonna keep being corrupted and keep being problems because I'm not doing anything to make this thing better. All I'm really doing is manifesting the same old complaints and the same old dysfunction because I really don't want to be here. I got to make my mind. If I'm going to be here, I got to lead us. If I ain't going to be here, then I got to remove myself from the situation because all it's going to mean is that I'm going to be mad, you're going to be mad, and there'll be two unhappy people continue a toxic situation where we're not going nowhere other than the only thing we're sharing is what we don't like about each other.
That's right.
That will be the only thing we share. The only thing we grow about our ability to continue to let us know how much we don't want to be here no more. And then it's going to, eventually one person eventually going to be brave enough to say, you know what, I'm going to remove myself from the situation because this is no longer giving me anything that I wanted when in terms of having a relationship. So it's going to be very, very hard to keep anything that's worthwhile. You got to work hard for it. So I recognize that now, that for me to get what I want out of this relationship, I'm going to have to lead it. Because I tried it her way, and I'm not happy.
This is random, but I realized this too. My therapist said this. It's very difficult for two alphas to coexist. If your woman is an alpha, you an alpha, y'all gonna bump heads a lot. That's that. And it's true. You know, being bullheaded, your pride, letting your pride get in the way, that's gonna be a problem in the long run. Two alphas is gonna be very difficult for two alphas to coexist.
1,000%.
It's just what it is. But yeah, you know, those are our comfortable truths today, and I think we had a great conversation. You know, men, we got to do better. We got to be better. We got to step up. Women, also, you know, get out your own way. At least try. You know, when I say what I say, that doesn't mean, oh, yeah, it's the man's fault. Nah, you still responsible to work on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We all have to work on ourselves as individuals and be better as individuals.
Hell yeah.
You know, you have to start somewhere. If you're not okay with who you are as an individual, start there.
Right.
The better you are, if you become okay with yourself as an individual, then you'll be better going forward for any relationship. And that even goes for as a friendship, a better son, a better brother, mother, father, all of those things, daughter. Work on yourself, get to the foundation and core of that, and be happy with yourself, and be better for any relationship within your life.
You better know it.
It is what it is.